Hello YouTube. So I am able to finally do the video, and it's been a long time. I did not want to say it was a long time coming in this regard, but it's a long time since I've been wanting to do the video since Marianne Williamson unfortunately dropped out. I was hoping not to have to ever do this video, but unfortunately it has come, and I feel some type of way about it. But the reason why I could not immediately give the news, even though I found out the day of when she dropped out, I've subscribed. Y'all know I've donated multiple times. And I told y'all I was even going to go as far as to give all my birthday money to the Marianne Williamson campaign. But unfortunately, she dropped out literally 2 days before my birthday. I was in the midst of getting a job, which I'm hired for. So every time y'all see me in this shirt, and no, I do not work for McDonald's. Just in case y'all wondering, I know somebody going to say, is it McDonald's? No. So, but I do work in the service industry at the schoolhouse. So that's why y'all will probably see me in this red shirt. I got multiple of them. So if you see that, that's why I'm typically getting off of work from now on. I got a couple more days where I can get off early, and then I'm back to the, I think she's going to have me back on to the 12 to 8. So we're now adjusting my YouTube schedule for that. But now, since I got off early today, I have time to finally do this video after it's been nearly a week. And since then, Cory Booker has dropped out. And the sad thing is, everybody has been paid more attention to him dropping out, but I ain't heard peep when darn on Marianne Williamson dropped out. I mean, of course, I looked at MSNBC posted it, Fox News, ABC 11, but the Young Turks didn't say anything. And all these black organizations who's talking about tangibles and shit ain't said shit. But now I'm seeing that Yvette Carnell, they say is bragging about Cory Booker dropping out. And this really got me looking at them some type of motherfucking way. And it's like, excuse me, y'all, but I'm about to do some swear words. So if y'all sensitive and y'all got children around, this ain't the video today. Because I'm about to go off. So get the little young children out the room, because Diva Wan about to go in a little bit. I don't understand this bullshit. I mean, y'all was praising about Cory Booker. Y'all was responsible for Cory Booker not getting the vote, which I don't understand that in regards to anything, because it. But let's get back into Marianne Williamson. It's like I'm looking at this shit, and I don't know where Antonio, Yvette, Boris Watkins, Field Advice Show, none of these, Tariq Nasheed, I don't understand where they're going with the black agenda. Vicky Dillard, the black agenda. All y'all keep saying tangibles, this, that, and the third. Yet my little ass on my channel of 807 subscribers has came up with the only definitive darn gone execution for reparations. All y'all with y'all darn gone platforms ain't came up with nothing yet. We done have done a whole video, 2 hours, breaking down the whole ADOS 101 website, right? And I'll leave that video in the description box down below. Y'all had a ballpark of what the money should be, and then y'all said it was between 5 to 10 trillion. I was right there with y'all. I said 6 trillion, 5 trillion towards economic restitution over a course of 10 years, $1 trillion for cash disbursements, and then we'll divvy it out by, if you have at least 3 generations in America, you don't necessarily have to be a descendant of slaves, because of the myriad of issues that even freedmen had to go through, in addition to Aboriginal black people who were already here, not to be confused with Native Americans, because there were black people who were already traveling to America and already was conversing with Native Americans and helping Native Americans build up civilizations. And that's where the confusion comes in, because of the fact that some people think that you are of Native American, and it's sort of convoluted, because it's like you're technically of the native black people that were here, that were before slavery, in a way. That's not everybody, but some black people did get caught up in that. because they passed for black people. As a matter of fact, the Native Americans were mistaken for, I think, darn gone darker skinned Indians at first from India. When the settlers arrived, hence why they was first called Indians. And then, when you had black people got caught over here, about 2% was of East African descent. So East African and Native Americans looking very similar. So it was a lot of convolution of groups getting caught in. And then you had some free black people who were already here that got caught up as well. So I think it's disingenuous to say that you have to let me turn the TV off real quick. I think it's disingenuous to say that you have to necessarily link yourself to a plantation, because there were some people who were fortunate enough to go in back in the woods and still be free, whatever, but they technically was not free. They still had to live a hard life. They still had to be in turmoil and all this, that, and the third, even as a freesman. And then some people who were free on paper end up getting snatched down back into plantations. And then when y'all try to you call it American descendants of slavery, I don't like that term because it's too broad. But y'all are trying to focus it more on a tribalism of black Americans. But then when you say American descendants of slavery, it contradicts that, because then then you have to think about the Libyans who made it back to Africa, who descend from slaves in America. Then you have to think about the Caribbeans, the ones who were born in America but were shipped off to the darn islands. Like, do they not qualify? So it's like under the ADOS, it's like you're forbidding them, even though technically they would be, in some cases, American descendants of slaves. So that's why I say it should have been focused more on black Americans, and that's why I originally liked the thought of foundational black American as a more term, because when you think of black Americans, you think of undeniable black people in America who descends from American chattel slavery, not first, second, third generation Africans, not people who have an immediate connection to the West Indies. But the problem with Tariq Nasheed is that's the only thing he has is the damn name. I was going to do a video comparing ADOS to foundational black Americans. He don't even have a website. And then when I looked at darn gone ADOS website, they darn gone talking the economic stuff is stuff that the Democrats is already proposing for people in general. So you working against us. It's like you supposed to be, the point is to give us stuff that is exclusive to us and not a way, because the way that they phrase it is, they don't want everybody else to have free college education. They just want it for black people. And it's like, what makes you think that the average person is going to go up against their own darn like, I don't understand that bullshit. So you're against everybody else getting their shit eradicated because you want it just exclusive for black folks, when if you just allow them to darn gonna give us all of this, we can darn gonna ask for something else in exchange, because we're still set behind no matter what the ball is. That's why I said, instead of funding HBCUs and shit, which that's not exclusive to black people, because darn gone white people can go to HBCUs. You have some darn gone HBCUs that got upwards of a 50% white population. So darn gone, when I hear people like Joe Biden talk about HBCUs, that's still darn gone like affirmative action where white people darn gone benefit. So that's why I said we should be funding black banks, not darn gone, all this darn gone incentivizing banks to darn gone. They ain't been working with us for this long. They systematically been darn gone trying to deprive black people business loans. Y'all are darn gonna give us a $25,000 car loan. Y'all are give us a darn gone $50,000 student loan. But soon as something about equity or a business that is viable towards building generational wealth, honey, they won't do that. They'll give you something just to keep you in darn gone having to pay in debt or whatever. You can get upwards of $100,000 school loan with no problem, but you can't even get a $20,000 business loan, even if you have a viable business plan. I think that's a motherfucking problem. And then when your name is not, they throw your application away just because of your name. I break all this shit down in my reparations plan about funding the our black businesses, our darn on black owned banks. And some people had issues with that, talking about, well, technically they're not our black owned. You know what? Y'all stop playing the semantics. In America, all the motherfucking banks have to go through the FDIC. But we talking about ran under the premise of blackness, where black people are in head positions, where we don't have to worry about systematic discrimination against us based off our name and all that. That we have to deal with Wells Fargo, which has been around and actually compensated slave owners for the loss of their slaves. None of this shit was addressed by them for the most part. And then when Antonio and Yvette did address on it somewhat, and then when we get to the actual payment amount, none of y'all have a payment amount. But then y'all got mad at Marianne Williamson because she didn't propose enough. But then the question is, what was the dollar amount? Nobody never said nothing. You got Marianne Williamson came all the way to the ADOS conference, and y'all telling me y'all didn't have an actual conversation on a exact dollar amount? And to this day, y'all still don't have a dollar amount? And then when other groups is looking to see, okay, what is y'all thinking about as a collective, and they looking at the top black people who are supposed to be the main voices of us on YouTube, sadly, all we hearing is bitch for arguing and all this, that, and the third. We hearing about Yvette looking rough, being accused of being on crack cocaine, going at it against the phantom pimp honey, going against playing they said he played a pimp in a movie, sold out to the white man, this, that, and the third. Made himself look like a character of a thug for the sake of a white production company. And then he now got his own production company. He does the Eating Color series. Oh, okay. Then you got Phil. Then the controversy with him. Me personally, y'all know I biasly don't give a damn about, the wife scandal. It's like, okay, his wife Native American. I don't give a damn if his wife was 100% white. But when it comes to black people, here he go flip-flopping. Now he done went up to the amount being $19 trillion. Ain't said nothing about how we go by proposing it. Talking about, oh, it's up to them. It's their problem to figure it out. What the fuck you mean it's their problem to figure it out? It's darn on for us. We supposed to darn on come up with the darn on viable plan for them to disperse the darn on amount, so it ain't no darn on excuse. You talking about leaving it up to your darn on people who inherently oppress you to come up with the darn on dollar amount. That's basically what I'm hearing. That you darn on, and then it's like y'all still stuck on this motherfucking check. Which the check don't mean shit if you don't have economic restitution to back the shit up. Every other damn group managed to darn on get economic. Look what the Jews did. The Jews didn't settle for just cash. And now look what the Jews is at. Darn gonna running all of motherfucking Hollywood because they were smart enough to darn gonna get economic restitution and darn gonna start plotting them on businesses and lands and shit. They didn't just darn gonna settle for the cash payouts. And then Native Americans, they darn gonna got every annual, multiple darn gonna payouts. Granted that the government could do better. Unfortunately, you got eminent domain and, you got all that bullshit. And then you got some that got kicked off the Dawes rolls and all. So, and then you got the $5 Indians. So, with that being said, that could be better, but they half-ass got something. Then you got the Japanese with the internment camps. Then you got Jews got about $20 million again, courtesy of darn gone Bernie Sanders and Obama, but then turn around and say reparations for black people is divisive. But you done gave darn gone displaced descendants of Holocaust survivors $20-some million for atrocity that done happen, because y'all like to say slavery once again is so long ago. But the Holocaust was back in the 1940s? What the world, we was giving some darn on rental assistance and darn on government food stamps and shit. See, y'all like to say it when it's black people, but I ain't hear not nail complaint towards darn on welfare assistance being given out to Jewish people for darn on in relation to the Holocaust. But the Holocaust happened darn on 1, 2, 3 generations prior. You still dealing with the nobody didn't say, well, why they y'all, how in the world y'all didn't directly experience and y'all ain't built yourselves up by the bootstraps. Ain't nobody there say nothing about that to the Jews when that $20 million got cut. But y'all want to darn go around the Mayberry bush and talk about, oh well, maybe darn the loan should be just an education and all this, that, and the third. And you know, and Antonio and Yvette was somewhat on that bullshit too about, you know, the college education. I'm like, number one, all of them is proposing free darn on college to eradicate the whole damn debt. So shut the fuck up about it. It's like some of us already graduated, number one. And so, and this is what darn on made me not with Bernie on the first time, because I told, and they picked up on my video, because notice how they changed their tune. Because at first, they wasn't even focusing on student loan debt. They was just focusing on the college for all. And I got the receipts. Y'all go back to my previous videos where I expressed my frustration. I said, well, what about us that's already darn on college graduates and we already got the student loan debt? It must be nice for the ones who going to school already. Y'all can go to school for free, but ain't no. And I addressed this to former Senator Nina Turner on the campaign trail and stuff, and they was dipping and dodging the question in here. That's why he ain't getting no leeway in North Carolina, cause you ain't about to darn go. I wasn't on that field to burn shit. I ain't see nothing to darn go field to burn for. He was an old white man that ain't spoke nothing to my darn on southern black issues in North Carolina. I wasn't taking no parts of the darn on Bernie sauce. I ask you what you darn on doing, and then you was start on that bullshit about reparations with now granted, I didn't even think it was possible back then either, so I didn't even hound him on the reparations stuff. But just on everything else, as far as the student loans and stuff, he was just on the education. But it's like by that time, I done got out of college twice. Now you coming back along with everybody else talking about, you know, eradicating the student loan debt. And I can get behind that. So it's like, why is we trying to propose it exclusively for us when they already proposing it for everybody? That's the one thing right there. Number two, even if we was to get education, honey, darn on black people proportionally already lead in darn on associates and bachelor's degrees. And that don't darn on excuse, that doesn't, negate that we still have to deal with racial oppression, such as our hair, whether it's on the end of type 3 to type 4. The 3A, 3B sisters don't have to deal with much flat. But once you get in the type 4 family, honey, we got to deal with the atrocity in the workplace. So no master's degree, no PhD, no, and you would think motherfuckers on here who actually, are licensed clinical psychiatrists, darn on social workers, a PhD in financial literacy, a darn on lawyer. You would think all these people having the darn on background that they have, you would think they would know this type of shit. That obviously, having your own, just having a degree ain't going to really mount up to a hill of beans. And the only reason that they're doing successful is because they are independent and they got their own shit. But only 15% of people have a natural entrepreneur mindset. So what about the other 85% that needs to work? Why can't you darn on focus on giving business loans to the 15% to help darn on uplift the 85%? Because when we go back in history, and they're going to find out that black people actually had trillions of dollars worth of wealth amassed it within 10 years post-slavery. It was, I think they said 50 billion, which was like $3-4 trillion in today's equivalent currency. That's what we amassed as a people working by ourselves, and I see why some people said segregation was better for us. Now y'all know, obviously for bias reasons, I don't necessarily subscribe to necessarily, we had to go to segregation, but I can see why some people would say that it was a benefit for us, because hell, when we were on our own and we didn't have no choice but to focus and darn on give money to fellow black businesses, we built our wealth up to surpass white counterparts, even in an oppressed state. Dealing with the height of the highest amount of murders. Murder didn't happen at the highest point during slavery. It happened during Jim Crow, which is why I don't understand when we talk about reparations, we focus it mostly on slavery, when the actual most ruthless atrocities happened actually after damn slavery. And it was during a time where some of our great grandmothers and shit was still alive. That's a more stronger argument for reparations than darn gonna slavery, because people get to say, well, you wasn't alive, or nobody wasn't alive during slavery, but darn on Jim Crow was all the way up to the 1960s. There's a lot of people still around. Matter of fact, darn on Joe Biden was darn on pulling strings in darn on Congress back then. So you can't say that nobody wasn't around during the eras of Jim Crow. A lot of your darn on parents and grandparents was around during Jim Crow. So now what's your excuse? And then when we go to the crack cocaine epidemic, hell, that was just that was darn on late 80s, early 90s. So when you focus more on that, that's more the stronger argument for the reparations and all that. And you have one candidate that was the closest to it, and that was Marianne Williamson. And for whatever reason, all these arguments, I didn't hear nobody actually trying to figure out to have a conversation with Marianne Williamson on increasing the dollar amount, and convincing her to raise it to $6 trillion. Show it how it would be economically possible to propose such an amount, because they was bitching and complaining about 2 to 500 billion being large. It was going to be some pushback on 5 to 6 trillion, but once again, I got a whole darn on plan that explains how that can easily be paid without it coming out of no because the issue that I seen a lot of white people commenting on Marianne Williamson's on Facebook was, how are we going to pay for it? Oh, I don't want it coming out of my taxes and all this, that, and the third. Even though I showed that if it did come out of your taxes, it would be equivalent to 44 cents. 44 cents is what you would darn gonna pay per darn gone citizen in the United States of America. Every working citizen will pay equivalent of 44 cents to darn gonna give us $6 trillion. So in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to be out no money. And then you had some people arguing me down in the comment section talking about even that's darn on too much. But then when I told them, well, you don't say nothing about them darn on payments that's coming out for Native Americans every year. You ain't say nothing about when the reparations got paid out for the Jews in 2013. You ain't said nothing about the darn on reparations proposal for Asian descendants of railroad workers that is currently in Congress now as we speak. When I start mentioning that, all of a sudden it gets quiet. That's how you shut those critics down. Because nobody wasn't around then. Nobody wasn't responsible for y'all Asian descendants of railroad workers not getting darn gonna pay y'all full amount. But no, y'all don't mention that. But once again, I'm just so disappointed, y'all. They everybody just really dropped the motherfucking ball. And I thought I was gonna go out, but I'm really just over it. I'm really over it. Sick and tired of all of them. I mean, I don't know where to go from here, honestly. It's like we might see what Andrew Yang would do. But as far as darn on reparations, it's sad to say it looks like it's going to be a darn on long uphill battle, because the people that they would look to first are highest, Phil being the only one with the 1 million subscriber count. His ass is undecided. And then you got darn on Antonio and Yvette. All they bullshit, we done debunked that in 2 hours. Go check that out about that video. I mean, I literally don't even have no energy for it. I've looked, and throughout the past end of 2019 to 2020, these trifling, darn on ugly looking motherfuckers, darn on calling each other, darn on pimps, phantoms, hoes, crackheads, smokers, living with mama at 45, and all this motherfucking bullshit. But I ain't hear not one darn on proposal of, okay, we're going to back this candidate that is talking about tangibles, this, that, and the third, and we're going to vote. If you ain't willing to put your darn on money behind the candidate that's actually speaking towards your issues, why in the fuck you darn on think anybody else in the darn on party is going to take you seriously? That's why they darn on is annoying black people altogether, because it's like, well, hell, we ain't got nothing to lose. Darn on black people done got to the point where they think they ain't gonna vote for us no way. It's like, so why I'm gonna darn on try to convince and pander to the black vote, and y'all motherfuckers are darn gonna set up where you ain't trying to vote for my black ass anyway. Kamala Harris did try to switch up last minute and come out with a somewhat darn on decent plan that we read, and then y'all. Shit, I don't think that video got above 40 views. And she was talking about, the contaminated waters in our communities, investing over $200 billion, holding darn on people accountable if the darn on waters is not corrected in time, including not only areas of Flint, Michigan, but throughout the whole United States, which included areas like Fayetteville, North Carolina, Lumberton, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota. Like, she really had that going on, along with a criminal justice plan. Now, granted, that's a little bit of atonement, considering that she darn on perpetuated some of that bullshit for years. But hell, if we keep holding people by they darn on stuff that they did, and don't allow them to darn on try to at least implement a change, it's like, yes, we can hold her accountable for the bullshit that she's done, but if she's actually being sincere about darn going, now she wasn't going to get my vote no damn way, but still, the fact that, we could at least darn on took her policy and encouraged another candidate to pick it up. Now, out of all that bullshit that she was darn on talking about that wasn't really mounting up to a hill of beans, I will say her black agenda did have some substance in it. Unfortunately, it did not have the actual reparations and the economic restitution to help build us up so we can be a thriving darn group of people again. But as far as actual darn survival, not dealing with mortality rates, she touched on the hospital issues with black women. Like, she had all of that together. I will give Kamala Harris that. But a lot of y'all didn't even darn pay that attention. And then Cory Booker being the only candidate that's actually darn talking about the crack to cocaine disparities and darn decriminalizing crack cocaine. Notice everybody else was talking about heroin. Heroin affects mostly white people. Opiate epidemic is mostly white people. Now it's getting on the rise a little bit for black people, but white people still majority are the ones on darn opiates. But the ones who suffered the most during the crack cocaine epidemic, Cory Booker was the only candidate that was really proposing darn decriminalizing the crack cocaine, thus getting people off on charge, expunging darn records. A lot of people who are free today still got caught up on drug, charges where you giving one group sanctuary cities to do heroin and, not, having a criminal record on them, but you still allowing another predominantly race of people to be subject to felonies on their record for a drug that's in the same class. So let it make sense. How are you still going to have crack cocaine labeled as a felony drug addiction and heroin not be labeled at all? You're going to give Narcan and stuff to darn cops, and you're going to perpetuate the problem, but you're not going to try to treat the problem, which is why, once again, I couldn't get with the other people who are talking about, enhancing on the sanctuary cities and, this, that, and the third, and calling darn heroin addicts, versus trying to create more rehabilitation centers and darn job placement programs for people who are on drugs. Try to help them get their records expunged, and once again, job placement, home placement assistance and all of that to get them acclimated back into the life. And then, but once again, we're seeing another report that Jay-Z just sued a Mississippi darn prison, which I think housed majority black people living in darn deplorable conditions. Once again, something that Kamala Harris and Cory Booker was on. Y'all shit talk Jay-Z about being in the NFL, but none of y'all was talking about him teaming up with Cory Booker and Kamala Harris trying to come out with a comprehensive criminal justice reform and dealing with the atrocities that happen to black people, the double standards that happen to black people. Once again, yes, they did not do they full due diligence as far as reparations, but they was at least getting something started nonetheless. And then y'all just completely ripped them off. Y'all completely written them off. Didn't give them no mind. Didn't even was willing to meet them to the table or anything. So why would they even pander to you at this point? As far as the remaining candidates, I can't even blame them for trying to darn replace us at this darn point, because we darn just looking like a darn spectacle, and it's just darn sad. And then the one candidate that darn addressed us directly and was willing to propose our issues didn't hardly get any donations. But y'all the main ones talking about tangibles, but y'all couldn't darn get her on the debate stage. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you serious? We have $1 trillion in spending power, and you telling us we could not use our spare dollars to get her on the darn on the darn debate stage? Now, granted, that is still rigged to a certain extent. They would have still found way, the polling and all that shit. But she could at least utilize the money to keep her darn campaign staff afloat. Even if she didn't make it to the debate stage, she would have still been able to at least have commercials, tap into proximity marketing. That way she can ping, notifications to people's phones, this, that, and the third. But with no money, she darn had to suspend all her darn campaign staff and still tried to go at it alone with the help of volunteers for a week before she had to finally give up the towel. Yet you got a multi-millionaire going at it against a so-called established lawyer and somebody, Yvette Cardell, who's bragging about working with Congress, this, that, and the third for years. Yeah, I ain't heard not nail person that you was willing to work with to this day. Because at the end of the day, it's a group of 100 senators who has to sign off on the majority House of Representatives vote decision on reparations. And I ain't heard y'all mention not no congressman about who being on board, because it's even beyond the presidency. Because with this has to be a House issue. So when I'm hearing about y'all just focusing on presidential candidates, and I don't even hear nothing about House of Representatives, that's dropping the ball within itself, talking about no tangibles, no vote. But I ain't even hear y'all even mention the House of Representatives who were for reparations. Y'all so focusing on the president, but y'all ain't focusing on the other people who needs to make the ball rolling as well. Matter of fact, if you get a majority of the House and the Senate on board, that can override any president. But a lot of people that, number one, don't even know about the how Congress works as far as the three branches of government. And then the ones who do purposely omit the shit for their own reasons. Because I'm starting to believe that this shit's a set up my damn self. Because you telling me with all these educational backgrounds and connections to people like Dr. Claude Anderson, I don't know if he's a doctor, but Claude Anderson and all this, that, and the third, y'all telling me y'all are not familiar with how this shit goes down and how everybody else got theirs, but we still looking foolish. We're the only group that can't even get they don't even want to study for reparations. But essentially, the irony is, I'm hearing people it's confusing because they against HR 40, which will imply that y'all know a specific dollar amount that is owed. But then y'all are saying, well, it's between this and that. Y'all don't have a dollar amount. Y'all don't have a specific disbursement date. Y'all don't have a viable darn testing system, because I told y'all how the testing system with darn Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell is severely flawed. But even outside of that, like I said, even on the health care, she was the best candidate on that addressed darn the sickness. Even afterwards, I will give her this. At least Bernie looked like he did take up some of her points. So Marianne Williamson did, and oh my goodness, I hated that it was Bernie, because I really don't want to vote for Bernie. I'm going to tell y'all, I really don't see it for Bernie. Bernie done rubbed me all the way the wrong way. So that's why I'm hoping, since I seen that her and Andrew Yang have done a video in the past, I'm hoping that Andrew Yang takes up more Marianne Williamson policies, because I'd be more inclined to be on the Yang gang side as opposed to the Bernie side. But I will have to give credit where credit due. Bernie did change up his platform a little bit and started incorporating some of Marianne Williamson policies, because before then he was just focusing on paying and keeping the doggone sickness industry thriving. And it's just now it's going to come out of us paying our taxes a little bit more. Elizabeth Warren talking about taxing the darn wealthy. Then darn Bernie comes back and said we're going to tax them at this percentage and all this, that, and the third. Darn Marianne Williamson is the only one who addressed how to darn deal with preventative care and post care, while also darn trying to push for cures. And when I seen that Bernie somewhat picked up that, I said, okay, that's a little bit of hope. Now, only if Andrew Yang or Tulsi Gabbard and them can darn get on to that, that would definitely make me a lot more happy, because she was more than just reparations for me. She was about health care. She was about darn peace in the Middle East. You know, she was about addressing issues going on in Africa, because every other candidate, they always look to the mixed race version of Africa. They always talk about Iran and, you know, Yemen and all this, where the very fair skinned, red bone sisters and, you know, and we don't have no issues with, you know, Rihanna, what's your name? Rihanna, what's your name? You know, Rihanna's man is over there in Pakistan, Iran, Yemen, and all that area. You know, very fair skin, light darn butterscotch complected darn not even butterscotch, creme brulee complected brother. But it's like when you get to my complexion and darker, you know, that rich darn black darn skin complexion, you don't hear much about, you know, the Sudan. And when I seen darn Marianne Williamson actually mention those areas, that actually gave me a whole newfound respect for her. Because she's able to simultaneously focus on those issues there, and she would have been on board with probably helping darn those 14 West African countries become more economically independent and hold France accountable about their darn modern day neo-colonization. But notice every other candidate, once again, this is where I came with the Yang, I mean not the Yang game, but the Feel the Burn. And I know the Bernie Sanders fans be watching me. I want y'all to ask, to answer the question about Bernie's hypocrisy towards black people and what makes y'all think that we should vote for him. Because you got darn Miss Senator Nina Turner talking about he's been doing this shit since 1962. I say no, he hasn't been doing this shit since 1962. Catch. What has he done for me lately? And when people ask her that, oh, he done, okay, you keep saying a whole lot of shit that is for everybody. Notice when they talk about Hispanics, they focus solely on Hispanic people. Notice when they talk about Jewish people, they are able to focus only on Jewish people. But when it's black people, it's always some open-ended around the Mayberry Bush type of shit. Oh, we're going to give you this through darn education. But black people are leading proportionally in education. We are not dumb by no means. We don't have no problems getting darn on student loans. Most of us are darn having to deal with darn student loan companies calling our phones every motherfucking day. So student loans is the least of, getting into school is the least of our problems. They don't have no problems giving a bitch a student loan. It's darn trying to give us a darn business loan is the motherfucking problem. Something that's going to actually make me some darn generational money, that's when the problem comes in. But if I want to get a car, that's not too hard nowadays. Honey, you can have a 450 credit score, but as long as you have a job that makes about $2,000 a month and you work there 6+ months, honey, they darn gonna find a way to get you a darn car off the damn lot. But if you want to try to get a house, oh, that's when you go through the bullshit, honey. That's when you go through the bullshit. You will be, and it's not even about the money. And because I know somebody gonna say, well, the house is more expensive. You could be looking at $100,000 house and you could be looking at $100,000 car. Them motherfuckers will approve you for $100,000 car loan before they approve you for $100,000 darn house loan. So it ain't necessarily about the money. It's about the fact that you can do more with that darn house over time than with the car. The car, in most circumstances, depreciates. The house can remain stationary and it actually can appreciate under certain conditions. That house can be passed down. That car gonna break down over time. But once again, everybody darn talking about tangibles this, tangibles that. Bunch of bullshit. I'm just over it with all of them. I'm so far over. So it looks like on that regard, I hate to say it, but reparations is a done deal. I really don't see it at this point. Unless darn Andrew Yang picks it up, I don't really see us darn get nowhere at this point in the game. I really don't. Unless miraculously they come across my videos. But that's a very long shot. Maybe we might have some hope. And I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but like I said, I'm the only one that actually has come up with a darn plan, and I don't understand it. Between a lawyer, a person who done worked with them darn Congress since before I was darn born, Yvette Carnell, 44 looking like 54. From this to darn living up in the mansion with his beautiful Hispanic wife and mixed race children, darn Tariq Nasheed. To Field Advice Show having more darn subscribers than everybody combined. To who else? Umar supposed to be childhood psychiatrist, building a school in the sky that still ain't darn been developed in over 10+ motherfucking years. Yeah, he's still getting invited to this show, and stuff. Darn promising about darn schools and financial, educating our people, this, that, and the third, and being a descendant from darn Marcus Garvey, all that darn bullshit. Then you got Boris Watkins, the School of Financial Literacy, this, that, and the third. But then you have multiple complaints from people like Paris Milan that she was darn it took her a whole month to get. Now that's the ignorance in her. It's like, now bitch, why was you darn working for somebody a month just for darn $200 some darn dollars? I don't understand that either. Why would you even accept the darn pay rate that darn low at your darn level in the game? You got over 100,000 subscribers, honey. You actually darn pull more on your darn own than with him. Hell, you can pull more on the live stream than darn boys can. So I don't even know why you even got yourself caught up in that darn type of deal where you was trying to do. And maybe because, still building a sisterhood and overall and getting the voice heard. So it's not always about the money, but it's like I didn't see anything of substance when I look at some of the fly Nubian queens outside of Vicky Dilla. Hell, some of them talk about what I be talking about outside of these top. They be talking about some gossip shit. It's like, well, okay, yeah, we need some black entertainment and stuff, but for the most part, y'all complaining about, nobody. It's not too many people focusing on the issues, and then y'all are not even really focusing on the issues. Y'all darn trying to take some of my darn spot talking about the latest stuff going on in hot topics and celebrity trends and shit. But then again, y'all know, I still give people the benefit of the doubt. It's like, well, bitch, I'm multifaceted over here. I flip and talk about a gossip section topic one day and then jump to some, maybe they can do the same. But I'm not seeing the balance. I'm seeing that it's about 40% fighting, 35% gossip, and 15% substance. I think we should be focusing more on the substance than the darn on gossip and in the infighting. I'm not saying that you can't defend yourself, but it's like, to what point is we going to keep this back and forth? Y'all still arguing back and forth like darn on pay. Y'all too old to look like y'all really look y'all age. Every one of y'all look older than some of y'all ages. For Phil to be 40 years old, he looks darn on near 50. Like he lived a hard knock darn on life. He darn on look like he's about 10 years older than what he is. Darn on your vet looks 10 years. All that darn on stressing don't look good for y'all. Cause it really makes y'all darn on the black that cracked. And it is looking like y'all, and then some of y'all being accused of being on crack. And then when people's looking towards y'all to darn on possibly darn on entertain the topic of reparations, here's all this fighting and darn on not wanting to come to the table, actually discuss the disbursement plans, this, that, and the third. And then you have a fool talking about that's up for them to come up with the. I couldn't even believe that shit came out of Phil's mouth. I heard that shit. It just threw me. It really did, y'all. But yeah, after Marianne Williamson dropped out, y'all, I really don't see it for nobody. I might do Andrew Yang. That's about it. But what are y'all thoughts, y'all? Like I said, it's just a sad, defeated situation all the way around. I don't have nothing else to give to it. I'm really depressed. I'm hoping maybe she can get a VP ticket. I'm so hoping darn Andrew Yang that they talk about and they's like, okay, I ain't trying to shame the Asian community, because yeah, we ain't never had an Asian vice president, we never had a woman VP, but god damn it, they're gonna put darn Tosi in the darn with her issues. She needs to be the Department of Interior or some shit like that. Like she could be in the cabinet, but dang on, I want my darn if Marianne Williamson is not in one of those upper cabinet positions where she's best suited as well, I would love for her to at least be a VP as well. At first I was against it because I was like, well hell, the VP really don't do much except for break tiebreakers within the darn Senate and darn possible, if something happens to Andrew Yang. But it's like, well hell, Andrew Yang is only 46 years old, fellow Capricorn, youthful. Yeah, I don't see him dying no time soon. So we wouldn't really need, Marianne. That's the only reason why I didn't really want to see Marianne Williamson as a VP, because it's like I don't see too much of a role that the VP does except for essential tiebreakers and preside head over the is it the head over the Senate? That's about it. I would have loved for her to be an enforcer of something like education. Is like she's so well rounded on so many darn on policies that you could really put darn on Marianne in any darn on vital cabinet position and she would darn on work wonders. Housing and urban development. Now I don't necessarily know about Secretary of State, and then of course she's not a lawyer, so she can't necessarily be department, the Attorney General. And I think you also have to have a lawyer background to be the Department of Defense as well. So obviously she can't be in those positions, but she's definitely suited for like the interior position, housing, education, energy position, Secretary of Education. Like it's so many darn areas where I can see her in. But I would have loved for her to be in prayer. But maybe but 2020 is so far away. Maybe we might can see her again in 2024. I don't know. But if she decides to give it another try in 2024, honey, she definitely got my darn vote off the rip. I don't see nobody at this point in the game that will be able to out top darn. And it's like, let me see how old she is. Hell, I know she only about, what, 67, 68. Joe Biden's ass damn near 80. Bernie the same thing. So it's like, if they can darn do it, she could come on back out in 2024. I don't give a damn if there's a Democrat in motherfucking office. Honey, darn still run. Matter of fact, I'd rather she darn run as an independent. But see, she got caught up. This is one thing I don't like about Marianne Williamson. She get caught up with darn supporting anybody who's the Democrat and don't see no flaws within the Democratic Party. See, that's that bullshit I don't like, honey. How old is Marianne Williamson? Okay, she's 67, so in July, so 68. 4 years, she'll be 72. Andrew Yang is 45. Elizabeth Warren is 70. Tulsi Gabbard is 38. Pete Buttigieg 38. 37. How old is Joe Biden? 77. So even in 4 more years, she would still be younger than Joe Biden and darn Bernie Sanders. Bernie's 78 right now. Donald Trump is darn 73 at this moment, and darn Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, is 77. So she'll just be darn 72. I definitely darn put my vote on you, Marianne. Come on back in darn 2024, because right now black people ain't got their darn shit together. And it's like I said, y'all bitching and complaining. I'm done with the darn tangible game. I still be pushing it individually, and maybe somehow by some way, my voice might be heard. That's the only thing I can do. But as far as looking towards them on the issue, But yeah, I'm so sad that Marianne Williamson got gone, and our sorry piece of shit representation. Because at the end of the day, it's sad to say that these are our representations when it comes to our media, because they the highest viewed people. They are the ones that get the calls to the breakfast clubs, the CNN interviews, the breakfast clubs. They the ones that get mentioned on the syndicated radios and television shows. They the ones that get the back and forth arguments with Roland Martin, all this, that, and the third. So they the ones that get heard over, little old lonesome people who work, 2 jobs like myself, who was able to artistically come up with a viable plan. And like I said, outside of the reparations, healthcare, foreign affairs, childhood advocacy, the list goes on and on. I think she was for legalizing marijuana, an extension of grants for Native Americans. No other candidate comes close. And it's like I said, the whole ball was dropped overall for black people, for Native American people, for poor people, for people that are still dealing with illnesses that a president like Marianne Williamson would have pushed the cure for to come through easy. We're going to try again in 2024, y'all. Maybe now that my situation is changing for the better, maybe by that time, actually it will by that time, I'll be in a higher position where 2024, Marianne, I'll be in a different financial status predicament. You definitely will have my vote. If I got to be in a if I have to come out and start pushing some money for ads and stuff on your doggone behalf, that's what I do. Because somebody like her is definitely needed. And in 2024, I would definitely be in a financial position where I could afford to come out of pocket and, get a couple ads on the TVs, teach you about proximity marketing and how to, because that's, most people are on their phones and not even really looking at TV anyways. It's a lot more effective cost-wise to push ads towards Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and towards Hulu and Netflix as opposed to, TV. Why you're paying $100,000 for a TV ad where you can, for that amount, you could be reaching millions of cell phones who, everybody got their cell phone. Not everybody's looking at TV all day, but no matter where you at, everybody got a cell phone. So where Marianne Williamson went wrong is trying to focus to get on TV. Even old people nowadays got a motherfucking cell phone. Y'all need to get the game with proximity marketing. So 2024, we're going to get Marianne Williamson educated on proximity marketing, and we're going to, definitely push her with the right group of black folks who are actually going to be here for her. That that's going to educate her on, how she could have conveyed to black people more. Because once again, she did drop the ball on the amount. And then how she talked about dispersing it was some flaws. But once again, overall, I can still take her seriously enough, because number one, for her to come off as sincere and willing to have a panel to offer their input, that means she would have been open to some modifications in other regards, including the darn dollar amount, which she did come out and later on say that she could, we could also talk about upping the dollar amount. So I don't understand why my fellow people still didn't darn vote for it. So it makes us look darn weak as fuck. Like, why in the hell we darn even being looked at when the people who are actually darn proposing stuff don't get the support anyway? So it's like, once again, it makes it look like, well, hell, why the hell I'm going to darn try to offer anything for y'all, and the one person that darn did try to offer something, y'all ain't paid a bit shit. Y'all darn actually darn voting for darn Joe Biden in the most numbers. I'm done. Like I said, I'm done with I don't understand that. Y'all bitched and complained about it. It's like we as black people overall, the ones, it is so misogynist, including our women. Because I'm trying to figure out how in the world is Joe Biden, the author of the crime bill, is leading amongst black voters. Y'all same motherfuckers who bitched and complained about Hillary Clinton, who was the first lady, who did not have any political power in regards to that damn law. But just off of the thought that she supported the law, y'all gave her flap to this day. Y'all mentioned that shit all throughout 2016, and her ass wasn't even darn at nowhere instrumental in the creation of the damn law. But y'all motherfuckers allowed senators to still remain in the damn office, who darn was the ones who pushed the law and did not push to modify the law, who is on the darn Senate floor talking about he don't give a damn why black people was disenfranchised and what caused them to be in the way that they are as far as criminality, that they should just be locked up. So just be completely darn bold and brazen in his disdain for black people. Literally darn talking about, I don't want nobody threatening to punch my darn child on the side of the street. But you the same person in 2008 threatening to punch a black man for taking your gun away. Talking about you a punch President Barack Obama in his face. And he was so much of a darn kiss ass to the damn system, he allowed him to become the VP. You pick somebody who threatened to punch you in the face. It's like you talking about somebody being inherently violent and darn lacking decorums and darn coming from dysfunctionality. But you supposed to be a darn senator who at this point in the game was in office for over 40 years at this damn point. Your ass has been wreaking havoc since darn Kamala Harris ass has been in school. All the way back in 1966, your ass was all the way back then wreaking some motherfucking havoc, talking about, not wanting to desegregate the schools and shit. And then upholding the crack cocaine epidemic. And then darn talking about your mother might get punched by a hoodlum on the streets or whatever, but you supposed to be darn VP and you threatening violence on somebody, and it's just seen as normal. But darn President Barack Obama so much as wear a tan suit, and darn Michelle wears a dress that shows her arms. That was too much to bear, but nobody even blinked and gave the time of the day that somebody of darn not Bernie Sanders, but Joe Biden's stature actually threatened violence against a fellow presidential candidate just because of a policy that you disagree with. But we the inherently violent people though. You know, we're the ones inherently violent. That's all I got to say on that. Like I said, I don't see just off of that alone how in the hell he voting. And once again, the author and creator of the motherfucking crime bill simultaneously getting the highest votes amongst black people. Honey, when I say we suffer from a form of Stockholm syndrome that is something darn serious, I don't know what is. Where we can't get away with that darn white savior complex, where we believe that the only way that we can defeat a darn evil entity, which in this case Donald Trump is not a darn very mild and what's the word I'm looking for? It's a start with an M. I can't think of it right now, but he's very mild nonetheless compared to somebody like a darn Joe Biden. Joe Biden actually, I would say, is the left equivalent to darn Mike Pence. And I don't say that shit in a good way, as if the left is the darn righteousness and the right is bitch. That is just both versions of evil. It's like which one? It's like this one is darn cancer over here. This one is HIV. Both of them are darn deadly, going to kill you in time. It's like which one you going to deal with first? Which stigma? The cancer is seen as a little bit more sympathetic. You know, people will deal with you if you have cancer. People are a little bit more turned off by HIV. So Mike Pence will be HIV. Darn Joe Biden will be darn cancer. But both of them, if not darn treated and eradicated, will kill you. That's how I view that shit when it comes to Joe Biden and Mike Pence. Cancer and HIV. And Marianne Williamson was the darn matriarch of peace that was going to eradicate both scenarios. And that's why she was labeled cuckoo and psycho and crazy and all this, that, and the third. And then you have a lot of darn Stockholm, and I'm going to say those Stockholm syndromes going off of the popularity. Just because he was darn President Barack. A lot of black people still subscribe to identity politics. They go with who's familiar. Don't got to promise shit. But then when the black man get up in there, y'all want to hold him to the whole darn. And once again, he dropped the ball too. But I'm finding once again, the thing is, y'all don't keep the same consistency all the way around. Because I'm trying to figure out, long before we even got to President Barack Obama, why in the hell was Joe Biden still the motherfucker darn senator? This is where I say y'all be so focusing on the executive branch that y'all forget about the other two branches of government. And I'm trying to figure out, y'all are bitching and complaining about what Obama hasn't done in 8 years. But y'all ain't said shit about what darn Joe Biden hasn't done in damn 50 damn years. That's that shit I don't understand. Joe Biden has been wreaking havoc since my mother was born. This motherfucker's been in office since my mother was born in 1968. Now, darn Kamala Harris is what, 57? And she said she was part of the second generation of darn desegregating her schools in like kindergarten and first grade. Like my mother was just darn being born around that damn time. This darn demon has been wreaking havoc since then. And time again, we done went through the 70s. We done went through the Black Panther Party, the darn 70s era, darn the rise of the hip hop era in the 80s. We done went through the 90s, R&B. We done went through the early 2000s, the 2010s. Now we bringing up the 2020s. And throughout all these eras, this motherfucker still up in here. And y'all ain't did nothing about that. Honey, we got to get more strategic come 2024. Because it looks like even if darn Donald, I predict that Donald Trump probably will get recalled. I mean, not recalled, but we could only wish, honey. But removed. I'm thinking that, a recall election where they could have put Hillary up in there. But at this point in the game, I would rather deal. It's like, I'm just waiting for a Mike Pence presidency at this moment, because it's looking like with what's going on, they eventually coming. I mark my words. He's gonna slip up and do something. They're gonna get his ass up in that darn Senate room, and he's gonna completely lie, and then it's gonna really hold the darn Republicans so accountable that by default that they're gonna end up having to darn remove him from office because of the hypocrisy of how they treated darn Bill Clinton. Y'all removed him for lying under oath. So if Donald Trump gets it, and that's why Donald Trump knows it, Donald Trump has a propensity to be a perpetual liar. He darn lies like he changes shirts and shit every darn day. Matter of fact, more, like almost equivalent to how many times you blink in a day. He lies by every other minute. So he knows that will be the one thing that would get him. Not all those charges that they try to put on him. They get him up in that darn seat, and as soon as he says one lie, he's up out of there. That's going to be what's removing him. And that darn card, the Democrats play that, honey, we be dealing with Mike Pence for the remaining few months. And then we'll be dealing with, it looked like a joke, Bernie Sanders might be presidency. I'm hoping maybe Tulsi, maybe Andrew. I'd rather deal with the first Asian, American that actually got some darn common sense. I'd rather. That's about it. I really can't think of nobody else. I can't even fake the phone. I don't see it for nobody else. Deval Patrick. No. Tom Steyer. I'm trying to think of what's the office that deals with, the environment and all of that. It's like, bitch, put you at the head of the darn EPA. Because that's the only darn policy you talk about. Yes, our environment is all that and important, but if that's the only thing you got going on, bitch, you know what? Whoever gets the nomination, just put darn Tom Steyer in the head of the EPA and all that, and call it the darn day. Tulsi Gabbard. There's several cabinet positions I can think of with Tulsi. Amy Klobuchar, Secretary of Defense or Attorney General. Mike Bloomberg, no. Moving on. Who else is there? I think that's about it. And Pete Buttigieg. He don't get the gay vote for me, honey. Matter of fact, it's like outside of him being gay, he ain't spoke to no. Has he spoke to any transgender issues? We're gonna have to finally do a video on Pete Buttigieg, cause I don't hear. He be going off of this he be playing the gay card, this, that, and the third. But quiet as it's kept, I ain't never heard of Pete Buttigieg really being out there for the cause before these. And I don't hear him ever speak towards the minority side of the damn community. So it's like, once again, he's perpetuating that racial division even amongst the LGBTQ community. Because we still deal with other issues amongst our own, such as racism, xenophobia, classism, and all this, that, and the motherfucking third. And even divisions within the same groups, such as different types of gays, different types of lesbians, how feminine lesbians are looked at more preferable than the masculine lesbians, how the trade is looked at more than the femme queen and the drag queens and the and the other feminine girls in the gay side of the spectrum, and then the transgenders, we get completely overlooked. But the Stonewall riots movements got popped off with the trans women on the front line. We the most feminine and flamboyant are always the ones on the front line, and then when we get somewhat of acceptance, it's by the ones that saying that y'all would tolerate the trade that ain't did shit. So y'all get to sit back in the damn cut and benefit out the fruits of our labor, because women went from talking about that they don't prefer to deal with anybody, but then y'all say, oh, we'll deal with the masculine ones. But the masculine ones are the ones the ones still hiding. But that's another video for another day. Matter of fact, that's going to be a topic video within itself about the hypocrisy that women go through with the gay community, with the fact that y'all accept the trade, that slept with you, gave you several children, comes out to turn out his secret lover he likes the darn on ping more than the darn on coot cat. But y'all tolerate the trade more than y'all tolerate the honest queen. And then y'all turn around when it comes to HIV and y'all was dealing with the promiscuous trade, y'all blame it on the honest queen that ain't never looked at a coot cat a day in her life except for when I do my, in the professional capacity. Some of us are gynecologists, estheticians. So outside of the actual professional, honey, I ain't never looked down there in that regard and don't ever plan on to, honey. No God, honey. Unless you come to me for a Brazilian wax service or anything of that nature, anal lightning or anything of that regard, honey, I don't deal with that area in no capacity. So with that being said, I done lost my train of thought that fast, y'all. But yeah, with that being said, as far as Pete Buttigieg, I haven't heard him really mention any darn. I heard Cory Booker mention about transgenders multiple times. Andrew Yang in his healthcare forum mentioned about it. I think Julian Castro, but he missed the mark though on it. But I don't think Pete Buttigieg ever meant. But we're gonna see about that. But outside of that, it's like, what does he do overall? Because you got to be more than a one-trick pony. You got to be more. When I think of Tom Steyer, I think of just doggone I think of environmentalists. That's it. When I think of Pete Buttigieg, I think of the token gay doggone candidate that's running. Deval Patrick, even worse, I can't think of what he is except for being doggone President Obama's best friend. I don't hear nothing, no actual policies that makes him differentiated. And then you trying to go off of the general moderate that's favorable, honey. Amy Klobuchar got that darn on lock. So you can't even go off of, okay, I'm the Democrat that got more the moderate, just well-rounded. We just going to keep things in a stagnant position, because it's like you're not bad, but in the way America is trying to progress, you ain't doing nothing to try to elevate us up. It's like you would be to just keep the status quo. And it's like, hell, we already got the favorable person for that. Amy Klobuchar rides that train very well. Amy is darn likable. She's from the Midwest. She's able to compel to both Democrats and Republicans. You really don't find no issues with her. She don't got no negative backstory and all of that. And then she's a darn middle-aged white woman. And it's like we already didn't deal. We already elected a half-ass black man up in there the first time, and we seen how that shit go. Full black man that's darn rather light ain't gonna work in either. Cory Booker, on the other hand, at least did offer some differences to a certain extent. Even with trying to put on the fake hoodness, even though you grew up in upper middle, he grew up in very much in a Beyonce-ish lifestyle. Like, it's like both your parents grew up in upper middle class lifestyle, but you up on the debate stage talking about you don't know the flavor of the Kool-Aid and shit. Like, bitch, you probably don't even know what Kool-Aid is. I still can't think of darn Cory Booker pouring sugar in Kool-Aid. I don't think Cory Booker know nothing about darn Roman noodles and how to make 42 different darn varieties of darn Roman noodles. From cutting up the bologna, this, that, and the third, to maybe if you have some leftover chicken. I don't know if Cory Booker know anything about that motherfucking lifestyle, honey. But at least he darn tried to portray. But once again, all of these will be different videos for another day. I'm just thinking about other things to talk about, because once again, as far as the reparations, it looks like it's a done deal. And that got gone with Marianne Williamson, unfortunately. I don't see anybody, unfortunately, picking it up. Maybe by some shred of hope, Andrew Yang might pick it up. And if so, and before y'all say, well, Tom Steyer mentioned no, miss me with that bullshit. I took the time to listen to him, and he ain't saying nothing different than what everybody else talking about. Oh, it should be in the form of education law. Like, they always, y'all motherfuckers get on my goddamn nerves with that shit. Y'all gonna stop playing black people like we motherfucking dumb and motherfucking illiterate, bitch. Every time I hear darn reparations, y'all motherfuckers always talking about education. And we all got these motherfucking student loans. Bitch, we ain't got these student loans for being dumb, motherfucker. We ain't got these darn degrees hanging on our walls and shit for being dumb, bitch. We ain't leading in darn gone education and associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees being dumb. So please miss me with darn gone giving me the opportunity to get another darn gone piece of paper to only darn gone be denied when you got motherfuckers with master's degrees having to go to McDonald's because they can't even get a job in their career field because of darn gone shit as simple as their skin color and their hair. When we have to have laws passed just to allow us to wear our hair in the workplace. I want a motherfucker to talk about that shit before darn going education renewal. Talking about reparations in the form of darn gone education, trying to play us like we motherfucking dumb. Bitch, this shit been going on since motherfucking Martin Luther King was Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King, motherfucker. Darn gone Rosa Parks was a motherfucking darn gone typist. She wasn't just no old senile woman darn gone sitting at the bus stop who was collecting a social security check. This bitch actually worked as a darn gone typist. Y'all gonna quit playing us as if we don't do shit. Darn gone Madam C.J. Walker came out with a multi-million-dollar hair care and skin lightening business. Y'all gonna quit, and it was the first recognized black millionaire in America. Y'all gonna quit playing like we darn gone ain't educated. I'm so sick and fucking tired of you trifling ass motherfucking candidates. Every time we talk about motherfucking reparations, it's always education renewal as if all of us is just darn gone on a second grade intellect. And then you got Joe Biden mocking darn gone people. Once again, that's they darn gone best stance. They thinking of darn gone trying to give us a equivalent left of some same shit riffraff that we already doing. Cause when you darn gone really look at it, what the hell is Joe Biden doing is really too different than darn gone Donald Trump. Darn gone Donald Trump is being accused of darn gone essential treason and darn gone nepotism. But then when you look at Joe Biden, isn't he not being accused of the exact same thing of darn gone potential treason and nepotism? So it's like, how in the hell you think it's good to try to darn gone win with a candidate that is just as darn gone equally bad? And it's like, it's the ultimate hypocrisy. You're going to ignore all the shit that is being brought about on Joe Biden. And in his past, we're going to darn gonna overlook all that shit. Even though he has a far more history of being corrupt. And I ain't taking up for Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is just a darn gone narcissist who is darn gone playing to the tune of mostly Mike Pence in the background. Because I believe if he actually had another darn gone candidate, if he darn gone replaces darn gone Mike Pence, he would probably do better. If darn gone Donald Trump was but it's too late for that. Like I said, he's going to get removed at this point in the game. But if Donald Trump actually had enough common sense and would have darn gone got somebody like a Amy Klobuchar as the VP and was actually darn gone willing to darn gone do some half-ass, like he don't even have to propose no reparations. He wouldn't have to propose $15 an hour. This is what would darn gone keep Donald Trump up in there. He'll propose darn gone because he fucked up when he darn gone mess with his core base, the poor white people who, when you mess with the food stamps, thinking that it affects us mostly, but darn gone it's more white people on food stamps than black people. Black people being darn gone knowing how to darn gone stretch $1 out of 15 cents. We know how to darn gone stretch. Hell, that's what soul food was brought up on. Darn gone stretching collard greens and ham hocks and neck bones and shit. See, white people don't know how to do all that. So we darn gone can survive and darn gone stretch some shit out. But when you started giving them food boxes out to white neighbors, that's when you heard a lot of your white folks. When you darn gone was foolish enough to try to promise coal industries, and that shit didn't pan out, that's what hurt them. When you darn gone say you was going to do this for farmers, and the farmers ain't seeing nothing, that's when that shit darn gone didn't work out. When you darn gone pissed off China, but you didn't have a vital substitute to darn gone China, which would have been darn gone Africa. Hell, Africa is really where it's at. Darn Chinese people, dumb, is actually going to Africa because darn China don't even have the resources to even match motherfucking Africa. But your dumb motherfucking ass, dumb orange bitch, and yeah, I said it, you dumb looking motherfucking darn scrotum face looking son of a bitch, darn want to say shithole countries. But if you actually have somebody of actually intellect, the thing is, ding dong, instead of dealing with China, let's darn go to Africa, help the African people out to build up their economy, because despite them being, in destabilized countries that are third world status, because you can acknowledge that, yes, the country is a lot of destabilized countries, but you have to acknowledge why is it in a destabilized state. If you were to darn hold France accountable, instead of backing out the Paris darn climate change agreement, you should have been darn trying to hold Paris accountable for darn keeping those countries in a destabilized state, which puts them at what you would call a shithole. If you would have did that instead, darn you would have had a lot more favorability with black voters. So this goes to all y'all motherfucking Trump tards that like to darn toot up in the motherfucking comment section. If darn Donald Trump would have came at us like that, honey, he would have had my motherfucking vote. If Donald Trump was the darn turned around and said, Paris, we darn holding your ass accountable for darn these 14 countries having to darn get aid from the United States government because of the shit that you darn doing to them in this modern day and age. And we actually going to take this to the darn world's court. We're going to take this to motherfucking, what's it called, OSHA, whatever. We're going to take this shit to the darn universal darn international courts and get them out of these darn colonized darn contracts. And then we're going to have them work with us. And then we're going to darn get our cocos and resources, our diamonds and all this shit, and come out and build our own darn, we got Apple and shit. But Apple being going through China versus we can bypass China altogether and go straight to the motherland. But your dumb ass don't even know nothing about darn economics in that regard. You so busy trying to dig up coal, you don't even realize about how the diamonds and the cobalt and shit that makes our phones and shit for China to reign supreme. They darn extracting the shit from Africa. But you darn so convinced that all of Africa ain't nothing but a shithole, you ain't even looking at the darn ultimate prize about darn utilizing the most darn wealthy resource area in the darn land because of your darn mental darn inadvertent racism. Like I said, you got dumbass inadvertent racism who are more dangerous when they're being subliminally controlled by darn ultimate supremacists. Because Donald Trump by himself is nothing like this if he didn't have Mike Pence in his oar. That's why I said if he was to come out today and say he's getting rid of Mike Pence's ass and he was to put somebody like, it'd be too much like right if he was to get like an Andrew Yang, and of course that wouldn't work because I wouldn't see Andrew trying to team up with Donald Trump. But I can see darn Amy doing it. Hell, even Tulsi. Now if he was to either get Tulsi Gabbard or a motherfucking darn Amy Klobuchar, and if he was to hold Paris accountable, raise minimum wage to $10 an hour. Now, because once again the preferable would be $12. Y'all see I had to stutter on that for a moment because it's like I know damn well he ain't even going to do that. Y'all know they like to do the bare minimum. So I'm going to show y'all the key tricks where Donald Trump could easily darn keep his ass up in there. Minimum wage, $10 an hour. Tulsi Gabbard or Amy Klobuchar as the VP. Be willing to discuss reparations for black descendants of American chattel slavery and people who descend in America from at least 3 generations. And you look at my proposal for the disbursement of reparations and entertain that. Even if you don't want to even go for the $5 trillion, I would say a good darn start amount where we can start negotiations is $1 trillion. If we can even get to $1 trillion with darn Donald Trump, I can see him winning over the black vote on those 3 points right there. Raising the minimum wage, Amy Klobuchar, Tulsi Gabbard as the VP, and darn reparations discussions. Those 3 right there along with darn reversing all those darn LGBT darn policies that you done under Mike Pence's control. So that's point number 4. Number 5, President Barack Obama already passed the darn reparations for the darn disenfranchised farmers and stuff with the grants and shit. That's already coming through the pipeline. So he don't even have to really focus on the farmers like that at this point. Just darn don't roll nothing back else with the farmers. And actually propose some renewable resources, energies instead, and get off the coal. If he just does those 5 points right there, those 5 things, I guarantee you, will darn up against anybody else that's currently running, darn Donald Trump will win in the landslide. I'm telling you this now. If Donald Trump was to put Amy Klobuchar, Tulsi Gabbard as the VP, propose at least $1 trillion in reparations to black American descendants of darn slaves, or people who are black in America that has been here for at least 3 generations. $10 an hour minimum wage. That right there at the start would get him the darn win in the landslide. So that's it for tonight, y'all. I know we done jumped all over the place. We started off with my thoughts of Marianne Williamson being, let go out the campaign, to now about Donald Trump, because it's like, hell, if he's going to possibly be around longer, I don't think it is, but this will be the one thing that would keep him around. So maybe the darn Trump tard supporters can darn put that bud in his ear, and that it might darn change his tune. We'll see. So that's it, y'all. It's 9 o'clock. I got to get ready to darn watch my shows, enjoy my 3-day weekend, y'all. So y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The Yang gang, sound off, Tulsi gang, Klobuchar gang, Trump, Trump game. I already know y'all gonna darn sound off. So I look forward to seeing y'all comments down below. Mwah.